Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak from the heart about a man whose voice carries the weight of tradition, whose presence bridges generations, and whose music continues to echo through the soul of Japan and far beyond its shores. I am speaking of Hiroshi Miyama, a singer who did not merely enter the world of enka, but walked into it with respect, patience, and an unwavering sense of purpose. Hiroshi Miyama's story is not one of instant fame or overnight success. It is a story shaped by perseverance, humility, and a deep love for music that was nurtured long before the spotlight ever found him. Born in Kochi Prefecture, a place rich in natural beauty and cultural depth, Miyama grew up surrounded by the sounds and emotions that would later define his artistic identity. From an early age, he was drawn to enka, a genre that demands not just technical skill, but emotional honesty. Enka is not something one sings casually. It requires the singer to live inside the song, to feel longing, nostalgia, regret, hope, and resilience all at once. Miyama understood this instinctively. Before he became a household name, Miyama spent years honing his craft. He sang wherever he could, learning how to connect with people face to face, voice to heart. These years were not glamorous, but they were essential. They shaped his discipline and grounded his character. When he finally debuted, it was clear that he was not chasing trends. He was answering a calling. His debut marked the arrival of a singer who respected the roots of enka while carrying it forward with sincerity and grace. What makes Hiroshi Miyama truly remarkable is the quality of his voice. It is strong yet gentle, traditional yet alive. There is a clarity to his singing that allows every lyric to land with meaning. When he sings about loss, you feel it. When he sings about love, it feels earned, not exaggerated. When he sings about hometowns, seasons, or fleeting moments, it feels as if he is singing not just his own memories but yours as well. This is the rare power of a true enka singer, and Miyama embodies it fully. But voice alone does not create a legacy. Character does. Miyama's public image is one of humility and warmth. He speaks respectfully, listens carefully, and treats his seniors, colleagues, and fans with genuine gratitude. In an industry that can sometimes prioritize spectacle over substance, Miyama stands out by remaining grounded. He often speaks about the importance of learning from those who came before him, and this respect is evident in his performances. Each song feels like an offering, not a display. Another remarkable aspect of Miyama's journey is how he has helped enka reach younger generations. Enka is often seen as music for the older audience, but Miyama has gently challenged that perception. Without abandoning tradition, he has made enka accessible again. Through television appearances, variety shows, and creative performances, he has shown that enka can be engaging, vibrant, and emotionally relevant even in the modern era. His famous rope-jumping performances, for example, became a symbol of his individuality and discipline, surprising audiences and endearing him to fans who might never have expected such athleticism from an enka singer. This balance between tradition and freshness is one of Miyama's greatest achievements. He does not modernize enka by changing its soul. Instead, he presents it with authenticity, allowing listeners to rediscover its beauty. He reminds us that enka is not outdated, it is timeless. It speaks of emotions that never disappear, no matter how fast the world changes. Awards and recognition have naturally followed. Appearances on prestigious stages such as NHK's Kohaku Yuta Gassen are milestones that reflect both public love and industry respect. Yet even in moments of triumph, Miyama remains composed. He often credits his fans, his mentors, and the people who supported him during his difficult years. This gratitude is not performative. It feels real, rooted in memory. There is also something deeply human about Miyama's storytelling. Many of his songs focus on ordinary lives, people leaving home, people waiting, people remembering. These are not dramatic heroes or grand narratives. They are everyday emotions, elevated through music. In a world saturated with noise, Miyama's songs invite us to slow down, to feel, to remember who we are and where we come from. As a performer, Miyama understands silence as much as sound. He knows when to hold a note, when to soften his voice, when to let the lyrics breathe. This musical maturity cannot be rushed. It comes from years of listening, not just singing. It comes from respecting the song more than oneself. This is why his performances linger in the listener's mind long after the music ends. Beyond the stage, Miyama represents something important for Japanese culture. He stands as proof that tradition can survive without becoming rigid, that heritage can be honored without being frozen in the past. In him, we see continuity. We see a living thread connecting the emotional history of enka to the present day. And perhaps most importantly, Hiroshi Miyama gives people comfort. In times of uncertainty, music like his offers stability. It reminds listeners that sadness can be expressed, that longing is shared, and that endurance is possible. His voice does not deny pain, it acknowledges it and walks through it with dignity. That is why people trust him. That is why they listen. So today, when we speak of, we are not just speaking of a singer. We are speaking of a storyteller, a cultural bearer, and a man who chose patience over shortcuts. We are speaking of someone who sings not to impress, but to connect. Someone who stands on stage not above the audience, but with them. As long as there are people who feel deeply, who remember their hometowns, who carry quiet emotions in their hearts, there will be a place for Hiroshi Miyama's voice. And as long as that voice continues to sing, Enka will continue to live, breathe, and matter. Ladies and gentlemen, let us continue this journey and go even deeper into the meaning of Hiroshi Miyama's presence in the world of music and culture. When we listen closely to his songs, we realize that they are not simply performances bound by melody and lyrics. They are emotional landscapes, carefully shaped by experience, restraint, and sincerity. Each phrase he sings feels lived in, as if the song itself has walked long roads, waited at lonely stations, and stood quietly beneath changing skies. Hiroshi Miyama understands something essential about Enka that cannot be taught in classrooms or perfected through technique alone. Enka is memory. It is the sound of time passing. It is the echo of footsteps fading into the distance and the quiet strength required to keep moving forward. Miyama does not rush these feelings. He allows them space. When he sings, there is patience in his voice, a willingness to let the listener arrive at the emotion in their own time. That patience is rare in the modern world, and it is one of the reasons his music feels so profound. There is also a sense of honesty in his performances that cannot be manufactured. Hiroshi Miyama does not hide behind dramatic excess. He does not overstate sorrow or exaggerate joy. Instead, he trusts the simplicity of the song and the intelligence of the listener. This trust creates a powerful bond. People feel respected when they listen to him. They feel that their own experiences are being acknowledged, not exploited. As years pass and trends shift, Miyama's role becomes even more important. He stands as a reminder that cultural identity is not something to be discarded when it becomes inconvenient. Enka, through his voice, remains a living expression of Japanese emotional history. It speaks of migration from rural towns to cities, of promises made and broken, of love that endures even when circumstances change. These themes do not disappear with time. If anything, they become more relevant. What is especially striking about Hiroshi Miyama is his quiet courage. Choosing to dedicate oneself to Enka in a fast-moving, youth-driven entertainment industry is not the easy path. It requires faith in the music and belief in the audience. Miyama chose depth over speed, meaning over popularity. And in doing so, he proved that there is still space for sincerity. There is still an audience hungry for music that does not shout, but speaks. His live performances further reveal his understanding of human connection. On stage, he does not dominate the space. He shares it. His posture, his gestures, even the way he bows reflect respect. Every movement feels intentional, rooted in gratitude rather than ego. When he finishes a song, there is often a moment of silence before applause begins, as if the audience needs a second to return from wherever the music has taken them. That silence is one of the greatest compliments a performer can receive. Hiroshi Miyama's journey also reminds us that success does not have to erase humility. Despite awards, television appearances, and national recognition, he remains deeply aware of where he came from. He often speaks of his hometown, his early struggles, and the people who supported him when success was uncertain. These reflections are not rehearsed lines. They are reminders that achievement gains meaning only when it is connected to gratitude. There is something reassuring about an artist who does not chase reinvention for its own sake. Miyama grows, but he does not abandon himself. His voice matures, his interpretations deepen, yet his core remains unchanged. This consistency creates trust across generations. Older listeners hear echoes of the Enka they grew up with. Younger listeners hear authenticity in a world often filled with artificial sound. In many ways, Hiroshi Miyama's music functions as a quiet refuge. It offers listeners a place to rest emotionally. In moments of loneliness, his songs feel like companionship. In moments of reflection, they feel like understanding. This emotional reliability is invaluable. It transforms music from entertainment into support. We must also recognize how Miyama contributes to the preservation of cultural continuity. By performing classic styles with respect and care, he ensures that these musical traditions are not lost to time. Yet he does not present them as museum pieces. He brings them into the present, alive and breathing, capable of speaking to contemporary hearts. As we look toward the future, Hiroshi Miyama's significance will only grow. He represents a bridge between eras, between emotions once expressed and emotions still unfolding. His voice carries forward not only songs, but values, patience, respect, sincerity, and emotional courage. So when we speak of Hiroshi Miyama, we are speaking of more than a career. We are speaking of devotion. We are speaking of a life shaped by listening as much as singing. We are speaking of an artist who reminds us that quiet strength can still resonate loudly, that tradition can still move forward, and that music, when treated with honesty, can continue to heal, connect, and endure. As long as there are hearts that remember, voices like Hiroshi Miyama's will never fade. They will continue to guide us gently, reminding us of where we have been, who we are, and what it means to feel deeply in a changing world.